I don't really know if I am a toy collector. I have been picking up a few bits and bobs from eBay, as you'll have seen on the channel of late. More just to, have a little sort of delve into past childhood memories, really. And I've heard toy collectors talk about having grail pieces, the piece they really want to have in their collection that they've never got thus far. And I think growing up, this toy in front of you would have been a grail toy for me. Only thing is, as you can see, this is from Japan. So there was zero chance of me getting this when I was growing up, because we didn't get Starfleet X-Bomber toys over here. So what Japan of course got, because this is the sort of thing that they did, was these sorts of toys. And this is an ST flavoured Dai-X. Now, apparently you call these Gokin or Sugarkin because they are die-cast, at least in some way, shape or form. And these were often derived from shows in the 70s and 80s in Japan. And I knew of their existence. People had sent me photos for the site, sfxb.co.uk, quite frequently on these toys. And I've got a nice article on the site, actually, which I've just been delving into to give you details like I just gave you, to try and figure out what flavour of Dai-X this was. So there was a bigger one called a DX, appropriately enough. But the basic toys in the line were called STs. Now, they might have been basic, but this one inevitably set me back quite a bit. But the tale behind me getting this is quite interesting in and of itself, because as I was starting to look at old toys again, I came across the videos of the Leicester Vintage and Old Toy Shop. And the guys who run it, Joe and Gav, and who do the videos, did a series called Toy Shop on Tour. And the first of the series was just in the United Kingdom. And that was really fascinating because they just went to various toy shops all around the country, found all sorts of fascinating stuff that you wouldn't think would still be around, and generally had a whale of a time doing it because they love what they do. So really enjoyable to watch. Now, that series did well. It was filmed really, really well by a nice bloke called Matt. And over the course of that series, I became aware that Gav was a Starfleet fan. He got very excited when he found some Starfleet jigsaws, which were some of the few pieces of merchandise that we got in the UK, and of which I have examples. But I knew that there were Japanese toys released. And I also knew that it was quite big in Italy and big in France. I mean, in Europe generally, the toys reached there, basically. So lo and behold, about a year or so on, Joe and Gav did Toy Shop on Tour 2, which is currently being shown on YouTube on their channel, so do go and check it out. And Toy Shop on Tour 2 is going around Europe rather than the United Kingdom. So of course, what do I see in their very first episode? But not one, not two, but 3 examples of Starfleet X-Bomber merchandise. And even more interestingly, they were actually genuine Japanese ones rather than ones that were sort of, packaged for Italy, which is where they were. And this chap was one of the ones that they brought home with them. And he was there in the first episode of that series, and I thought, I bet that he's going to go really fast. And then I thought, if I don't phone them and ask, well, actually, I think I messengered them and asked. And I said, is it still there? And they said yes. And in fact, all 3 of them were there. The thing is that the X-Bombers that were being sold at the time are very, very bright and colourful. They do not look like X-Bomber from the series. Now, this guy, when I open him up, which I haven't yet, I've been very patient, this guy is not going to look like Dai-X did in the show. I can see he's close, but he's not exactly as he was in the show. and he didn't have a great big, huge, enormous sword in the show that we ever saw. So, you know, artistic license and all that good stuff. Nevertheless, he is a vintage Japanese mecha, and the odds of me ever laying my hand on this were probably pretty small. But he has made it all the way back from Italy, via Leicester, via some form of postal delivery, and here he is. I'll add to this video a little bit of him spinning, because I've just got this funky little turntable thing going on that's shiny new, which is why I'm filming it tonight, not any other night. But I'm also going to unbox him for you, because I think it would be rude of me not to, quite frankly. And I want to see him because I haven't seen him yet. I've seen him on the rather, you know, beautifully filmed Toy Shop on Tour show, but I have not actually seen him for myself. So here we go. I'll just this stuff. I think I will just pop an image up on the site to go with the video, but just to show you the box in full detail. That's an image I've had on the site for quite a while. It's a really lovely cutaway of Dai-X, and this was back in, you know, so that's kind of a 40-year-old image of him. That is rather lovely. So although it's a relatively small bit of packaging, it's actually got a lot of good detail on it. And there you can see the puppets from the show there. So you've got Shiro in the middle with the helmet, Lee on the left, and Barry Hercules on the right in the sort of camouflage. The other guys are members of Earth Defense Force, and this is the overall commanding officer there. So, you know, you see a lot of these are all sort of stock images that were used in the show, and of course here you can see the toy functionality being displayed. But as you can see, it's all in Japanese. This is a proper original box for him. So let's have a look now. I mean, I am terrified of getting him out because I really don't want to wreck the box in any way, shape or form, but I just wonder if this is the best way to get him out or not. No, move the top actually. Okay. Right, let's have a look. There's even got pictures on the inside flap at the top there. It's really detailed. Not had much joy with this. Oh, I remember why now, actually. It's got there we go. So 40-year-old polystyrene to be treated with extreme care, I think. Wow. And there he is, complete with missiles various. And there he is. I really hope he's not going to fall forward on me. I'm going to catch him if he does. So there we are. Whoops. Okay, missiles flying everywhere. I think that's probably one of his chest missiles because his chest opens up. But as you can see, it's an incredibly minty condition Dai-X, and let's have a look. So as I say, this is, he never has this. Never seen that at all before, ever. So clearly just intended to be an accessory for this particular toy. You don't see that on the show at all. But it's an impressive. You know, there's a little bit of weight to it, and it's it's an impressive size. Now I've no idea what that is for or what that does. That might be a research bit for later. I don't know if that fires something, or I'm not quite sure what that's for. I'll put it up on the back of the box to see if it says anything. I can't immediately see what that's supposed to be for, but anyway, I shall ignore that for now. let's get him out. Now, in the package when it arrived, he didn't feel that heavy, but I can already feel he has got some weight to him. So that's that. I'm really hoping he might stand up on here for you. In fact, I can already see one of the features that someone on my site mentioned about him, which is that this foot is extended out. So he's got these sort of attack claw feet, toes, that are obviously designed to sort of pop out. He is quite heavy. His actual sort of legs, I think, and the torso are definitely metal. The arms, not so much. There's a bit of give to the arms. I think the stickers are probably wanting to come off a bit, but I mean he's so old. I'm almost terrified of doing this, but I don't know if I dare do this. Alright, I'm going to try this turntable and hope to God it doesn't fall off. It is quite relatively smooth. There we go. So there you go. If you're interested in the turntable, I'll put a little link to it in the description of the video as well, because it's quite. I've only tried this today, but it's USB powered and it's actually doing quite a good job. It's quite quiet as well, but it's quite nice just to get 360-degree shots using it. But I've only really tried it on him. So let me have a look now. So you can see he's got a little X on his chest there, as in the front, and these should open up. He has this in the series. That's accurate to the series. So he has these sort of chest missile launchers. I believe that this is going to be one of those. Yeah, that looks about the right size. So he's got two buttons on the back there. Okay, I didn't let it go terribly far if it was actually in. I may not actually be locked in fairness. Yeah, it's probably not locked in. I'll not play with that now because I don't want to wreck the mechanism, but it's obviously not wanting to leap out. That's fine. Leave that down there. So, sword. Let's close this back up. Now then, I think on the... Yeah, so it does rotate, so he can actually, he's a little bit posable. That sticker's coming adrift. I imagine that the sword will fit into hand. These hands, the fists actually launch off as well, though, I believe. And as I say, this is literally the first time I've had him out, so I don't know how much pressure and so on I can really apply to this. There we go. Boosh. Yeah, good launch, fair dues. I've still got some welly behind it. So he's got a reasonable degree of... He's got a surprising amount of rotation and so on his arms, actually. I was perhaps a bit more articulation than I was actually expecting, I think. So with arms rotate at the shoulder there, and something approaching an elbow effect as well. And he's got his shoulder guards that move as well. When all said and done, his legs have a little bit of bend action. Impressive, you could even stand. See, hands free. There you go. He's far more posable than I thought he was. I didn't think he would have that much flexibility to move. His legs are independent. You probably can't see that very. Yeah, he's got a large degree of flex, far more so than I would have thought. So that's quite impressive. Yeah, I mean he's really heavy. He's got far more weight to him than I thought when I got the package. But he's standing up really, really well. When you consider how old he is and everything else, you know, and the detail on the back is good. I mean, he's almost like he's sort of, you know, he's bordering on sort of being a sort of Gundam-esque. And the X on his forehead is quite quite solid as well, so that's not in any danger of coming off, and that's good. It's got a good detail on the head, which, as per usual, I can't focus in on. Let's just see if it'll focus in as I pull him back. Not quite, perhaps, but that's not. It's close to, you know, it's close to being spot on. In fairness to them, they've got quite a lot of detail in there, and it's really nice. I mean, you know, if you consider, if this is supposed to be the cheapest of the toy line, I'd have been very happy with that, quite frankly, because he's solid. He's really solid, and he's nicely painted. You know, very little sign of the paint going anywhere. You can see there's a little lever on the side of the foot there, actually, to bring those sort of foot claws in and out. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. So all I need to do now is find some way to display him where he won't start losing colour and all that sort of good stuff. I know it's funny, actually, because I asked Joe from the toy shop about whether or not you should get these things graded, which is a process by which you send them off. They get formally appraised and then they get put inside a sealed plastic box. But I think I'm kind of with Joe on this one. Is that, you know, he says he gets them so that you can get them out and play with them from time to time. You know, and I completely get where he's coming from, because if you grade them, that's it, they're sealed in there and you can't get them out, then you're a proper collector, I guess. You know, but I just really like that. I think that's a great toy. I mean, I've always admired the Japanese for their car making skills, but I think you know, it looks like it extends to their die-cast toys as well. So that's Dai-X. I'm deeply unlikely to ever repeat this, in part because I don't imagine that Joe and Gav will be going abroad all that often. You can bring things in from Japan. There are services that will do it for you. So if you wanted to get hold of something like this, you could do. And I have even seen them on eBay, but of course on eBay people are, you know, probably pricing them higher than you might want them to be. So it's entirely up to you whether or not you want to look into it. But do ask me any questions in the comments, and I hope that's been an interesting one for you to look at, because it's definitely one of the, if not the most unusual toy I'm ever likely to have on this channel. If I can get a better lighting setup, I will perhaps do another video of him at some point, and it might just show him off a little bit better. I'm conscious that I'm doing this now because I just wanted to do it, because I've had him for days and I've not gotten him out. I've been very patient, but I thought enough's enough. So anyway, so that's I'm gonna I might actually let my site know about him first, and then I'll put this video public when they've had a little chance to look at it. So please like and subscribe the channel. I'm very nearly at the point where I might be able to tip over and start getting a little bit of money, which might help me pay for things like him, which would be delightful at this point in time. And with that, I shall leave you. So thanks very much for looking, and I'll be back with you again soon. Cheers for now.